Hello everyone. Through this video, I'm going to give you an introduction to the Hadoop ecosystem. So let's start off with discussing what is Hadoop. So Hadoop is an open source software programming framework which we mainly use for storing large amounts of data and to perform various computational tasks. It's a framework which is built on top of Java and it uses some elements of native codes like C and shell scripts. It is mainly used for advanced levels of analytics, and mainly we use analytics for machine learning and data mining problems. So what is the need for Hadoop? Basically, the main focus of why we are using Hadoop is it provides a redundant, fault-tolerant data storage environment, and it helps you to parallelly compute frameworks, and it lets you, or let's say it helps you out to coordinate jobs easily. Now coming to the advantages of Hadoop. Hadoop has an ability to store large amounts of data, and not only storing data in large amount, but it also provides high flexibility, and it provides you a cost-effective environment with high computational power, and all the tasks are independent from one another so that it doesn't create any kinds of problems. Talking about the disadvantage, it's not effective for small kinds of data, and it has stability issues, and it provides security concerns, and it's very difficult to manage clusters within a Hadoop system. Now let's go on to the Hadoop distributed file system, which is also known as HDFS. So it has a distributed file system where the files are stored in blocks, and when you try to send a file, it is sent through nodes in the form of large clusters. Also, in the case of a node failure, the system operates and the data transfer takes between the nodes, which are mainly facilitated by the HDFS. So over the image you could see the main resources, like we make use of yarn, HDFS and other processing, which I'll be discussing later. Comparing Hadoop with a relational, or let's say to the traditional database management system, in terms of data size, the RDBMS lets you store gigabytes, while Hadoop lets you store petabytes. In terms of accessibility, it is interactive, and batch is also available, while in the case of Hadoop, it is not interactive. In terms of updates, we could read and write as many times as you want, but in case of Hadoop, once you write, it can be read many times. In terms of structure, it is static in the case of RDBMS, and in the case of Hadoop, it's dynamic. In terms of integrity, it is high in integrity, while in the case of Hadoop, it is low. The query response time can be much more faster in terms of RDBMS, while in the case of Hadoop, it has a lower latency. Earlier, we discussed of the advantages of Hadoop. Now let's go on to the advantages of Hadoop file system, or let's say the Hadoop distributed file system. So it is inexpensive, it is immutable, it stores data reliably, then it has the ability to overcome faults, it is scalable upon your request, and it is block structured such that all the data are stored in blocks, and it can process a large amount of data simultaneously. The disadvantages of Hadoop distributed file system is it is not fit for small amounts of data, and it causes large amount of issues related to stability, and it is rough in nature. The common frameworks of Hadoop are Hive, Drill, Storm, Spark, Pig, Test, etc., which I'll be discussing much more deeper later. Basically, Hive, it makes use of Hive QI for data structuring, and we make use of writing complicated MapReduce in Hadoop distributed file system. Drill, it consists of user-friendly functions, and it is used mainly for data exploration. While Storm, it allows real-time processing and streaming of data. Spark mainly contains a machine learning library, which is used to perform enhanced machine learning techniques and is widely used for data processing. It also supports other programming languages like Java, Python and Scala. Pig is similar to an SQL language, and it performs data transformation of unstructured data. Test, it reduces the complexity of other frameworks like Hive and Pig and helps in running the code faster. Coming to the various modules of Hadoop frameworks, it mainly contains 4 modules, or let's say 4 modules, The first one is Hadoop MapReduce, which is basically used for handling and processing large amounts of data. The second one is a Hadoop distributed file system, which we had discussed earlier, which mainly distributes file in the form of clusters among nodes. The Hadoop Yarn is a platform which manages computing resources. Hadoop Common, it basically contains a bunch of packages and libraries which can be used for other modules. Coming to the features of Hadoop framework, as big data tends to be distributed and unstructured in nature, Hadoop helps you choose the best suited way of analyzing big data. Since it's processing logic that flows to the computing nodes, it requires only lesser bandwidth. This concept is also similar to data locality concept, which mainly focuses on increasing the efficiency of Hadoop-based applications. As you can see over here, this is the architecture of Hadoop, which contains various components like Zookeeper, Storm, Soar, Manhunt, Hive, Pig, and many more, which I'll be discussing in the upcoming presentations. First, let's discuss what is Hadoop MapReduce. So it's actually an algorithm, or let's say a data structure, which is used or which is based on the Yarn framework. The main role or the primary feature that it provides is that it helps you to perform distributed processing in parallel clusters. Then it lets Hadoop work so fast because we are dealing with large amounts of data, and since the data are stored in the form of clusters, it has very low latency. The features of MapReduce are scalability, fault tolerance, parallel processing, tunable replication, and load balancing. Coming to Apache Spark, it is an open source programming engine that is mainly designed for analytic purposes to make it ease out. It is a cluster computing platform which is mainly designed to be fast and made for general purpose users. It is designed to cover various batch applications like machine learning, streaming, data processing, and interactive queries. The main features of Spark are in memory processing, tight integration of component, ease and is inexpensive to use, and then it's a powerful processing engine. It has a powerful processing engine and it makes it run so fast. Then it has a high level library for streaming processes. Coming to Apache Hive, it is a data warehouse tool that is built on top of the Hadoop, and it has nothing but it focuses on nothing else but storing the data at a fixed location, and it provides you the data whenever required. It is one of the best tools which we can use for data analysis on Hadoop, and a person having a knowledge of SQL can comfortably use Apache Hive. The query language of Hive is also known as HQL or HiveQL query language. The main features of Hive are the queries are similar to SQL language. Then it has different storage types like HBase, ORC, plain text, etc. Then it has inbuilt functions for data mining and other works, and Hive operates on compressed data that is present inside the Hadoop ecosystem. Coming to Apache Mahout, it is derived from the Hindi word Mahavat, which means an elephant rider. So the icon over here sees that a person is riding an elephant. Similarly, Apache Mahout runs an algorithm on top of Hadoop. So that's the reason why it is called as Manhunt. It is mainly used for implementing various machine learning algorithms on Hadoop like classification, collaborative filtering, recommendations, etc. It can implement the machine algorithms without integration on Hadoop. The main features are it is used for machine learning applications, and it has a vector and metrics libraries which makes machine learning easier to analyze. Then it has the ability to analyze large datasets quickly. Apache Pig was initially developed by Yahoo to ease out programming, and it has the capability to process a large amount of data set as it works basically on top of Hadoop. Then it is used for analysis or let's say analyzing major or huge data sets by representing them as data flows. It also raises the level of abstraction for processing big amounts of data sets. Pig Latin is a scripting language that developers use for working on the Pig framework. And the main features are it is easy to program, then it has some sets of operators, it has the ability to handle various kinds of data, and it is extensible. Apache HBase is nothing but a non-relational database, or let's say NoSQL, with a column-oriented database. It consists of various tables where each table has multiple number of data rows. These rows will have multiple numbers of column families, and all these families will have columns that contains a key value pair. HBase works on top of the HDFS, and we mainly use of HBase for searching small size data from a big data set. The main features of HBase are it is linear and modular scalability. Then Java API can easily be used for client access, block cache for real-time data queries. Apache Scoop is basically a command line tool that is built by Apache, and it serves the primary purpose to import structured data from RDBMS. For example, like MySQL, SQL Server, all the conventional RDBMS systems into the Hadoop file system. It can also let you export the data from HDFS to other management systems like RDBMS. The main feature that Scoop is providing is that it provides you the ability to import data to Hive or HBase. It lets you connect to database servers, and it helps you control parallelism. Apache Storm is an open source free distributed real-time software, or let's say system, which is built on top of programming languages like Clojure and Java. It can be used with many other programming languages, and it is used for mainly streaming purposes, and it is very fast. We use daemons like Nimbus, Zookeeper, and Supervisor in Apache Storm, and it can be used for real-time processing, online machine learning, and many more functionalities. Mainly companies like Yahoo, Spotify, Twitter make use of Apache Storm. The main features of Storm are it is easily operatable. Then each node can process multiple, or let's say million amount of tuples in a particular amount of second, and it is scalable, and it has low fault tolerance. In conclusion, the Hadoop ecosystem is a versatile and powerful tool which is used for managing big amount of data, and it lets organizations to store, process, and analyze massive volumes of information at ease. Each component within a Hadoop architecture serves a particular purpose, and they all do contribute to the overall efficiency and scalability of Hadoop. So that's the end of this presentation. I hope you got a basic understanding of the Hadoop ecosystem. Thank you and have a nice day.